Alright, what is going on, you guys? This is Tim Odell with Odell Complete Concrete, and this is part 3 of a 5-part series. This is the turf install. We're going to be installing turf today, and right now what we're doing is actually we laid in a 3/4 inch rock as our base, and we compacted the whole bottom surface, and then we're bringing in about a 1-inch sand of base, just so it makes laying in the turf 10 times easier rather than trying to lay the turf on top of this 3/4 inch rock. Plus it makes it nice, and just makes it a lot nice and smoother to be walking on rather than walking on a 3/4 inch rock. Even though you put a sand infill in at the very end and it gives it a little bit of more of a cushion, this still helps make it nice and easy, or gives it that nicer cushion to walk on. So you can see Sam is pretty much leveling out everything as he's going back with that Milwaukee red stick level, and he's leveling everything from side to side, and we have about a 1% inch slope from the back of the vinyl fence coming towards us to this paver border, because we do have one drain at the very end that if there was any crazy flooding, it would still slope and go towards the drain at the very end. Alright, we're laying in turf today. We just put our sand base in. We got a 3/4 inch rock underneath. I didn't go with my normal base today, the 1/8 gravel. That is a concrete base mix, because we're out here in Long Beach, and where I usually get that base is all the way in San Juan Capistrano, which is an hour drive or more. So we're just going with a 3/4 aggregate with a 1-inch sand, so that we can get a nice even level across this base, so that we can easily lay in this turf. As you can see, Sam, he's getting it open right now. We're about to get it on and lay some turf. Stay tuned. Alright, so now we're going to start laying this turf out. And we actually laid the turf in the wrong way when we first started laying, or getting the turf inside this little narrow area. And the reason why we ended up having to take the turf out and bring it back in, because we couldn't flip it around inside here. So we took it out, flipped it around, because the main reason for that is we don't want the turf blades getting hit by sunlight and pretty much projecting onto the vinyl fence. You can already see the vinyl fence when it's not on a sunny day. You can already see Sam's reflection in that. And if it's on a sunny day, when that sun hits that artificial turf blades, it'll reflect off of that vinyl fence and give you a terrible glare and just blind everyone. And you can see that we're putting in nails on the very edge of all the artificial turf, because we want to nail down one side so we can push it one way, straighten it all out, and then tuck it right into that vinyl fence, into the sand, and then we're going to nail that off as well. And we're only going to be putting nails along all the edges. There's no real need to put it along in the middle, because for expansion and contraction reasons, for summer and winter, even though there's not a lot of that happening out here in California, since we have beach weather year round. Alright guys, we're just now putting some of the nails down into the turf. I just kind of want to get a close-up on Sam doing this so you guys can kind of see how it's done. Do you see how he's pulling back those artificial turf blades, making sure when he starts to nail down that nail, that none of those blades are getting caught by the nail head. He's pulling it back and then going down, and then prying any artificial turf blades that got caught by the net nail up with another nail in his hand. Oh yeah, check out Stable gloves, guys. That's our pumper's gloves. Pretty nice. He's always supplying us with some gloves, so give him a little shout out. So Sam's gonna go down all along the edges, making sure that he catches none of those turf blades as he puts those 6-inch galvanized nails into the turf. And he's also gonna be using that little carpet stretcher you can see right behind him, and stretching out any wrinkles in the turf. Also, it's pretty important to get as close as you can to the edges with your galvanized 6-inch nails, because you don't really want them protruding or being a trip factor or a possible danger to whoever is walking on this artificial turf. But as long as you nail them pretty deep and make sure they're flat, you shouldn't have any problems. Not only that, but another good reason to get your nails as close to the edge is because you don't want your artificial turf coming like flapping up pretty much on the edges. You want to make sure that you give it a nice tuck and get those nails as close to the edge to help tuck it even better, so that the artificial turf just won't come up off the edges. And here we are, just laying out the second artificial turf piece that we had. So we're going to be doing a zipper style seam right here, and the zipper style seams look way better than a straight seam, and I'm going to be getting some close-ups to show you guys exactly how we put in the zipper styles. Alright, here we are. We are butting up the next artificial turf piece, and what we're doing right here is we're just pretty much cutting out these turf on a zipper style, so that when we do butt up the seams next to each other, they'll pretty much be completely hidden and you won't see that ugly turf seam. We're going to bring this turf right to there and cut it out to fit perfectly, and it hides the seams very well. And you can see here Sam is cutting out the last little piece. And that's how we do it, guys. So the seam comes out flawlessly, and then I'll get a quick final shot at the end showing you guys how it looks once that turf is all butted up and in with perfect cuts next to it. Alright, so we're starting to cut out the second turf so that we can match this other turf with the zipper style on it. We're just pretty much going to be cutting up the opposite so that it will fit in just like a nice little puzzle piece. And you can already see the seam has pretty much disappeared. We also just had to cut around that little vinyl fence post. And then we put nails, 6-inch galvanized nails at the edge of this turf as well, and the other one that Sam's sitting on. We're trying to actually teach Ernie, our other guy that was that's been working with us, how to nail in with nailing these 6-inch nails into the turf the proper way without catching any turf blades. So you can see how Sam's cutting out that vinyl fence. He's pulling back the excess with his fingers, getting his fingers as close to that vinyl fence as he can, and then he'll make the cut right below his fingers so that it'll pretty much be able to, there's still enough to tuck under that vinyl fence area, that crevice, and it'll be nice and flush against it. Alright guys, here's the most tedious part of doing artificial turf. We're putting in the staples in right now on those zipper seams that we cut out. Gotta put them pretty dang close together because you don't want these two different turf pieces separating. So it's a tedious process, but you just line them up, you look at where you're going, and you pound them in, making sure that you're catching both of the different artificial turf grasses. See how close he's going, and then you see how he's bending back the turf to see where the two artificial turf seams are, so you can make sure that both sides of the staples are going into each side. See that? There it is.
Good to get in here.
Alright. Right now I'm going to show you guys the technique that we're using to get these staples down without catching any of the artificial turf blades. So first we use the 6-inch galvanized nails, pull back the artificial turf.
Dig into the angle, start on this side, go to this other side, pull it back. Pull it back so you see all the black with 2 connections. Hammer it down. Lift up both sides.
Make sure you get all that artificial grass blades
from out underneath it.
Exactly. See guys, I taught Sam really well. I'm just playing around, guys. Edgar actually showed us how to install and lay artificial turf, so props and shout out goes to him. Now we get to use this to our advantage, and when we get projects like these, usually I try getting Edgar to come out and help me lay the artificial turf, but he was actually busy, so I couldn't get him out on this project. He was actually going to help me lay out all the pavers as well, but he's been so busy lately I can't ever get him on my projects anymore. So make sure you guys comment down below telling Edgar to make himself available for these projects, because I know he watches all these videos, so let him know you want to see him in these videos. So we're pretty much just going to be putting in more nails all around the edges, making sure that everything is nice and tight, no wrinkles. And here's the whole process of putting the staples in on the zipper seam. You can see he's outlining the whole seam. And here's our power sweeper. We first power sweeped all the artificial turf blades up before we laid any sand, so that the sand will fall into the artificial turf at the bottom a lot easier. Because if you were to try to lay this sand on top of the blades without power sweeping it at the very beginning, you'll pretty much just be putting sand on top of the turf without it getting all the way to the bottom. And the whole one of the big reasons for putting the sand fill in is to keep the artificial turf blades up instead of having them lay flat. What we're doing right now is we're laying in the sand fill for the turf so that all the artificial turf blades stay up and straight. Show you guys how we do it by hand. Normally you'd have like one of those little green carts where you can easily spread the sand nice and even, but we don't have one of those yet, so doing everything by hand. But this works well, just as well, as long as you have a good eye for it. And you can see Sam's going nice and easy, slow, looking over all the spots, making sure it's a nice and even fill. And then on top of that, we're going to go back with this tool right here, the power sweeper, and sweep up all the excess into the grooves, making sure all of the sand goes to the bottom and those turf blades go standing up. You got any tips and tricks, Sam, of how you're doing this?
Take your time. Don't rush it.
There you go, guys. Tip of the day. Patience is key. Oh, another tip, guys. Make sure you power sweep the blades up before you put the sand in, because all the sand will just lay straight up on top of the blades rather than going to the very bottom. Alright, so Sam was just laying in all the sand fill. And then after he's finished laying it all in nice and evenly, he got on the power sweeper and just power sweeped all the rest of the sand, making sure everything is nice and dispersed evenly and that those artificial turf blades are standing nice and straight. And you can already see it's already looking amazing. You can also see the little sewer clean out cap that we had to cut out around, just so they can snake the lines if they ever need to. And then this is what I was talking about earlier, about getting these nails as close as possible to the edge. Ernie actually put these nails in over here on this edge, so he didn't put them close enough, so we had to go back and put them in closer so that little lip wouldn't come up. And then we tucked the edges all around the whole perimeter and edges. But that pretty much wraps up this project, guys. That was part 3 of a 5-part series. I hope you guys enjoyed that video on how to install artificial turf. If so, please give us a like, share, subscribe, comment. I appreciate anything to help out, because every like helps us get to a bigger audience so that it may help other people out on their projects. I appreciate all the support you guys give us. So stay tuned, guys, and have a great day.